Hello YouTube, it's Tony. So today I'll show you a guide on how to farm Slayer points fast for 2019. I did a guide on this 2 years ago, but there is a new method that's added. Slayer points are very important for many things, including Slayer unlocks, preferring, blocking, or even skipping tasks. I highly recommend you complete the Smoking Kills quest, otherwise you'll get half the Slayer points. While the footage I'm showing you is on a high level account, it is still doable even if you're a mid-level Slayer. As a matter of fact, I did this method on my Ironman account when it was around 60 Slayer, and this was when I tried to unlock Brottos early on. Every Slayer task you complete normally will grant you Slayer points. However, every 10 tasks you complete will grant you an even larger bonus. You can check your task streak by quick chatting this. It doesn't have to be 10 in a row from the same Slayer Master. That means you can complete 9 quick tasks from another Slayer Master, and then on your last task, you can choose the highest level Slayer Master. The best low level Slayer Master to complete would be the Canifis Slayer Master. He is located right near the lodestone, or you can use a Slayer Cape because it'll give you an instant teleport. Those who have reset their task streak, or you're a new account, you have to complete 5 Slayer tasks before you start earning points. I do have an RS Wiki link for all the best locations, and I'll leave it in the description. You shouldn't need to skip tasks here because everything is pretty much fast and easy. You'll do this for 9 tasks in a row, and then on your 10th task, go to Monroe to complete 1 task. You'll earn 100 Slayer points from doing this, or 300 if it's the 50th task in a row. When the Monday update is released, we have a new Slayer Master that requires 90 Slayer, and she'll give you more Slayer points per task. Anyways, I do have a raw footage demonstration, and I'll leave the link in the description. By doing 7 Canifis tasks and 1 Monroe Episode Demon task, this took me 36 minutes. I was also using daily Slayer masks, so it did help speed it up greatly. In this time span, I got 114 Slayer points. Here are the helpful equipment and unlocks to have here. Magic has the best AoE abilities. You don't need to change combat styles. Also, VIP tickets are very helpful here because it allows a second option for a Slayer task. I do have a Cabbage Sage Punch ticket farming guide, and I'll leave the link in the description. There are daily Slayer masks which can be obtained from Treasure Hunter or Shattered Worlds. Basically, it lets you force a task of the certain Slayer mask once per day. I've listed you the best ones for Canifis and Monroe. What I listed for Monroe are either a quick task or they give you good XP from this. So, here is the second method when it comes to farming Slayer points. Ever since the Bounty Hunter rework, Wilderness Slayer will give you points. It requires 85 Slayer in order to access Mandrith, who is located in the Edgeville Bank. The Slayer task streak is actually separate from the main counter. Once again, you can check this from Quick Chat. That means you cannot do 9 Canifis Slayer tasks and then do 1 Wilderness task. Also, you cannot get both a Wilderness and a regular Slayer task at the same time, so you have to complete or cancel either one of them. Just like regular Slayer, you have to complete 5 Wilderness Slayer tasks at first before you start earning points. By switching between normal and Wilderness, it won't change the task streak. The other thing about Mandrith is that not only does he ignore your prefer and block lists, but his tasks are only doable within the Wilderness. However, VIP tickets are usable, and he only assigns 13 different tasks. You get the exact same amount of points per task as Monroe. Here is the general equipment and inventory setup. I like to use range here because most of the PKers will use magic. At best, you should bring either a Sun Spear or Vanquish. Seriously, don't bring anything higher than that like a Nox, okay? You'd be surprised at how common these skull tricks are. You then want to bring 3 pieces of Royal D-Hide. You can bring melee gear instead because some of these wilderness tasks are more melee friendly. Here are the following items you want to bring in terms of surviving or escaping PKers. First, I have Phoenix Necklace, which is for emergency healing. Then we have the Cerdomin Bruise and the Shark for the combo eating. Having a level 30 plus teleport is very essential here. And finally, a shield switch for defensive abilities. I do have Bounty Emblem, but it's not required for getting Slayer points. Here are the suggested tasks you should do and skip. If you're 89 Slayer and under, you can filter 3 bad Slayer tasks. Sometimes you might not get a task that's good, so don't be afraid to skip that because you get 20 points per task you complete. When I was going for the bounty emblem on my Iron Man, I still got enough Slayer points despite me being super picky about the Slayer tasks. PKs aren't very common in Wilderness Slayer, but I'm not an expert at escaping them either. You can use Anticipate, Freedom, and Surge because these are really helpful for escaping PKs. Either way, you're not really risking much anyways, well, unless you're doing Slayer bounty just like me. Anyways, I do have a raw footage of me doing Wilderness Slayer, and I'll leave the link in the description. It took me 55 minutes and I did 8 Slayer tasks in total. That means you would get 240 Slayer points without skips, but I only netted 90 points because I was very picky with my tasks. So Tony, how does this compare to regular Slayer point farming? Well, it's slightly faster than regular Slayer point farming method, but you will have to skip a lot of bad tasks here. It really depends on how picky you are in this case. Ideally, you want to have some Slayer points up front because otherwise you'll probably not have enough to skip certain tasks. When it comes to the locations of these tasks, most of them are within teleporting distance. As I said before, you're not really risking anything major, well, that is unless you have the bounty emblem in your inventory. Then again, a lot of people dislike the wilderness in general, so it wouldn't surprise me if nobody did this method. To wrap this video up, is Slayer point farming really worth it? If you're trying to go for unlocks faster or you're trying to get Slayer points to establish your prefer, block, or skip list, then yes, it is absolutely worth it to farm Slayer points. For the new Slayer Master that's coming up this Monday, you might have to change your prefer and block lists. So yeah, thanks for watching and I hope it helps. If I missed anything, feel free to ask. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to stay tuned for part 2, in which case, this will cover what are the best unlocks to spend your Slayer points on.